Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Football channel and welcome to a match preview. Yes, those are the words I haven't said in the last 50 days. Liverpool are actually back in action and it is their first pre-season game. They take on Karlsruher SC. I think I have pronounced that right. Sorry about my pronunciations, ladies and gentlemen, but I will go with Karlsruher SC as well. But I've been delighted to be joined by two fabulous guests. First time on the channel as well. We have Mr. Daz from the Liverpool Connection podcast. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Like I was saying before, I've got the air conditioner on. I know in Scotland you don't know what air conditioning is. A lot of people back home don't know what air conditioning. Well, they think it's just opening the window. I mean, I've got it cranking on like 60. It's 110 degrees here today, so it's pretty bad when you sweat inside your house. So, but apart from that, yeah, I'm sound.
Good, great to have you. But yeah, hopefully the summer over there will get a little bit cooler as well. And another debutant on the channel tonight is Niall from the Upper Tier podcast. How are you, Niall?
Good. How are you, man? Looking forward to it. Yeah. Nice. Thanks for having me on
good,
the channel.
Mate.
First time.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And Dave's in as well. Dave from Dave's LFC Chats. Hope you are well, mate. Hope you're keeping well. We'll have you on the channel very, very soon, my friend. But yes, Liverpool back in action. You excited to see us, Daz, tomorrow?
I am finally. I've cried my heart out over last season. I'm done with it. It's in the past. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Seeing a couple of new faces, and really looking forward to Macallister. And is it Szoboszlai or it's another one? It's hard to pronounce, especially when you're thinking of it in your head. I'm just going to call him Dom. It's easy. Looking forward.
Big bad Dom. Yeah. Szoboszlai. I think one of the Z's is silent, so I think it's Szoboszlai. I think so.
He did a video, didn't he? He did a video, and I think it's Szoboszlai, isn't it? The first Z is imaginary, so it's Szoboszlai or something like that. I think, as far as I know.
Yeah, but yeah, absolutely. I'm very, very excited to see Macallister, and I'm very, very excited to obviously see Big Bad Dom as well. Now, you the same. You glad to see Liverpool back in action tomorrow?
I always love watching my team. I have to put that out there first, but I don't know. With pre-season, there's always a huge anxiety with me as well. I kind of, if I can't get to watch the games, I just want to hear that everyone came out unscathed and it's all good and we move on. And that's kind of, so it's kind of a mixed emotion. Great to watch them play again, but also there's always that anxiety, and especially when you're playing at again, we spoke off air before we come on, this pre-season is another interesting one, to say the least. And I often wonder, when you're playing against teams that are, second division in Germany or whatever it is, there's always that that opportunity that maybe a player who's out there who wants to be noticed might take advantage of a situation or something like that, and it's just, yeah. But always look forward to seeing. Good to see Trent back. 2019, Trent is back. So looking forward to seeing that. And now some of the footage and all has been pretty cool. The lads, they've spent the last week comparing abs and all sorts of stuff and all this kind of thing. And we have lads doing wheelies on mountain bikes and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, that'll put the fear of God in me as well, So yeah, good to have them back.
No, it's great to see. It's great to see them back. For those who don't know who Karlsruher SC are, they were founded on the 6th of June 1894. So obviously everyone knows that Liverpool were founded in 1892. So they were founded 2 years after us. As well, they play at the Wildparkstadion. And they also play in Bundesliga 2. And last season, because there is a comment here, they were very inconsistent last season. Karlsruher SC went 7th last Bundesliga 2 season. They were so inconsistent in the league, lost 14 games and won 14. And some of the players who, I was looking at some of their players here, and Lars Stindl, he did play obviously for Borussia Mönchengladbach as well. But apart from that, there's not really many I can look at and say, yep, I've heard of you or or anything like that. So I think it'll be a very, very interesting game tomorrow, Daz. I think as well, obviously we all know that preseason is all about, getting players up to speed, but it'll just be good to get a match back in us, won't it?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, you still need match fitness. You can ride your bike, you do your wheelies, do your lactate test, do everything. But until you're against, an opposing team, not just players that you've played with, put in a good tackle, to see what it's all about, whose fitness is where, and it's actually, especially for us and for Klopp, to see the younger lads like Doug. I'm excited to see that lad.
Yes.
Like, Clark as well. That this is their time to shine and show Klopp that they should be included in the first team squad. So it's always exciting to see, who can make that next step. But some of these names I'm reading from ours, I've never heard of them. McConnell, Scanlon, Jaros, I've never heard of them. So again, it's a chance for me to, see some of these lads I've never heard of. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think Jaros, is a goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure he's a goalkeeper, if I remember. Because obviously Pitalugi is there, obviously Adrian's there, Kelleher's there, Allison is there as well. And as well, I think Jaros is another goalkeeper as well. But yeah, the others I haven't even heard. Scanlon I haven't even heard of. So it's going to be interesting. But I think as well, Niall, it'll be interesting to see how many of the kids play tomorrow.
Yeah, I suppose he normally approaches these, doesn't he, in 3 30-minute matches, basically, doesn't he? And he just changes things.
Yeah.
Typically, I think we won't see anything different tomorrow, really. Again, it's hard to know what you take out of this except getting minutes in, lads. And as Daz says, you're getting a bit of match fitness into the boys again. They're getting that feel of competitive ball and stuff like that on a pitch against strangers, basically. But so sometimes I wonder, it's a real sort of like, sometimes I wonder what level are you supposed to be pitching at if you really want to get something out of a game? If the session is supposed to be productive, if the match is supposed to be productive, what does he be really looking for? Or is this just kind of dipping the toe in the water tomorrow to kick things off, really, and who he play will be interesting. I'm sure he'll want to look at Macallister. I'm sure he'll want to look at Szoboszlai and get a feel for those two boys and how they look and stuff like that. Great point that Daz makes about some of the youth boys and stuff like that. Doak has been sort of skirting around and looked very impressive when he comes in. He's very, very exciting player and stuff like that. And of course, we want that to continue to develop and them to get those opportunities. But, the fear sometimes is maybe that one of these youth lads will look really, really impressive. And then we pull in the reins in the transfer window and we don't do what we should do. And Klopp will turn around and say he's satisfied with what he has. And it can derail us a little bit. So it's those kind of things as well. But look, we look forward to seeing these guys. We'd love to see players like Ben Doak break through and stuff like that and become real competitive in that area where we need a bit of competition from Mo Salah and stuff like that. And all would be really, really cool. And coming through from the academy is always a good thing as well. Be nice tomorrow as well. Probably see Curtis as well. And see what he sees. I'm interested. I was on a podcast a week or two ago with Dave, and I was saying that from the pre-season, I really want to see what the plan is, what he's trying to do, different formations and tactics that he's trying, all that kind of stuff. We just don't want to go out there 4-3-3, make changes on 60 minutes, the usual boring stuff we did last season that we got found out about. Do different stuff, change it up.
Yeah.
Start Szoboszlai maybe on the right, then switch him over to the left. Just mix things up, change it around and stuff like that. And let players at this time of the year in pre-season go out and express themselves and show you what they can do. Don't be too rigid or too regimental about it and stuff like that. And let the lads enjoy themselves as well. They're coming off the back of an absolutely shitty season. We've seen all the tweets at the end of the season, the disappointment. There's no one more disappointed than us three on the screen about having to endure Thursday night football and the wave of banter and everything else that comes with it and stuff like that. So go out there and enjoy themselves, express themselves, the youth players and all that kind of stuff, and then see how they get on, So it's interesting from that point of view.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very, very excited. I believe as well, Henderson, no, Henderson, sorry, Jones and Elliott, I believe, are traveling to Germany as we speak. I think we'll probably see them against Greuther Fürth on the Monday. So we'll go into the chat as well. Good evening, Nigel. Hope you are well. Looking forward to seeing Jurgen in centre mid. There we go. We will be very interested to see if that happens. Hello, Ryan. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're well. Come on, FSG are not worse than the Glazers. Hello, Panoff. Hope you're
Panoff.
well. Jaros is Czech, according to Nigel. McConnell and Scanlon, good lads. We brought Scanlon from Birmingham. There you go. Scanlon attacking fullback. Oh, interesting. Okay. Stephen Owens, hello, mate. Hope you're well. Maybe get a look at Jaro Quonsa. Quonsa? I think that's how you say it as well. And I'm excited to see Quonsa as well. But I'm actually just looking at this sort of group of players that have gone to Germany. And one name in particular, Stefan Bajcetic. Probably the sort of the forgotten man almost, Daz. It'll be nice to see him back tomorrow.
Oh, I'm loving it. Like, he's a superstar in the making. You know, there are a few players that I thought were going to be superstars for Liverpool. I thought, you know, I thought Wisdom was going to be a superstar centre back in the day, and you know, Bed Woodburn as well. I mean, I think sometimes when we watch pre-season as supporters, we see these young lads playing really, really well, and we think, well, they'll kick on, and then something just happens and it never materialises. Bajcetic, though, he's got it. There's something about that lad that, you know, if he can get on the weights a bit more, you know. That's what I was struggling with, you know, letting Fabinho go. And then, you know, there was talk of Lavia coming. And everyone said, well, we have Bajcetic, you know, who's basically the same age. But then you look at the stature of him next to Lavia. It's, you know, looks like a boy versus a man. But, yeah, it's great to see him back. He'll play in Europa League. He'll play in League Cups. You know, he'll be on the bench for you know, if God help, no more injuries. I think that's what we all fear. Is just please wrap our players in cotton wool, whatever you need to do, especially Canute. Just wrap him up in cotton. Stop doing wheelies, mate. Stop doing wheelies. You're scaring the living crap out of me. Yeah, we just got to come unscathed. Everybody, you know, come back, start the season like we're supposed to. But yeah, that young lad is going to be a superstar.
Yeah, 100%. And as well, Connor Bradley, Niall, got big plaudits at Bolton. I think he won their Player of the Season as well. So very, very highly rated. It'll be good to see him tomorrow as well, Connor Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, it's always great to see those players coming through and stuff like that, and especially if they've come back off a real good loan move as well. I presume, is Tyler involved as well? Tyler Morton, he'll be involved as well, I presume, will he? Tyler on the list there?
He's not mentioned in this.
Maybe
he's not travelled, so
okay. But yeah, those kind of players, it's always great to see them come through or break through and, you know, give a good account for themselves and stuff like that. Just even if it gives, you know, Jurgen some food for thought and stuff like that. You know, it's we've seen it in the past with some of these players. Maybe they've at times tried too hard to impress the gaffer instead of just playing within themselves. And it's come a little bit unstuck and stuff like that. So yeah, it'll be nice to see those guys, and I think we'll see a lot of them. I'd be surprised if we see Stefan, because we know how Jurgen protects these players coming back off injury. He really, really takes his time reintroducing them. We've seen it with Luis Diaz last year. It took forever. I mean, we've seen him jogging in February and we got him back in April. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like he tiptoe through these things, sometimes to the frustration of us, but obviously they know best because they're on the inner side of these things, you know. So, but yeah, it'll be good to see that lad. He did have a good season and stuff like that, and there's been a lot of talk about him and stuff like that. So yeah, but again, we have to keep things in perspective as well, and we know what we need to do and what needs fixing up and stuff like that. And although these players are looking really, really good, we need to be careful with their development, especially with Stefan as well. If you look at Stefan was brilliant last year. I mean, he practically carried that team for, the first X amount of games. Himself and Harvey were carrying the team, and that makes my blood boil when I hear people talking about how we're losing experience and stuff like that. That experience wasn't there last year. We 2 18-year-olds carrying the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why people don't get things in perspective and stuff like that. And I think with Stefan's going to be an absolute superstar. He's aggressive. He's controlled. He has a great eye for the game, all those kind of things. And I think if we just be careful with his development and stuff like that, we have a real gem on our hands. And the same with Ben Doak as well, and a number of others. And I think it's an exciting time in terms of those players. But I think we also have to be conscious of what needs to be achieved this year and what we're up against and what needs to be done. And not to say, for lack of a better word, too romantic at times about these things. Sometimes you have to be a little bit harsh as well. But yeah, certainly looking forward to seeing those guys.
Yeah, and as well, Daz, I think you have to say as well, Jurgen Klopp's press conference will be very, very interesting tomorrow. It will just see what the journalists ask Jurgen tomorrow.
Yeah, well, obviously it's going to be about Fabinho and Hendo, isn't it? It's a distraction. Obviously, Klopp, there's no way Klopp, he's been thrown a spanner. There's no way he thought the Saudis were coming in for Fabinho or Hendo. So that's really put a spanner in probably his pre-season plans. I mean, obviously Fabinho's not on the flight, so he looks like he's 100% gone. Hendo, I would like a little bit more transparency from Klopp as to what's actually going on, because you hear conflicting stories, like has Henderson changed his mind? Is he fully committed in leaving? So yeah, you're gonna get probably one of those. It'll start off funny from Klopp as always. He's probably one of the best at doing press conferences, but then it'll be thrown. The whole. Fabinho, Hendo, what's happening, blah, blah. Who else is coming in? When all he wants to talk about is the players he's got, I know he hates being asked questions like, who you're bringing in. He doesn't like it. He's like, no. This is the squad I have right now. I think it's kind of the same as last year. He got asked so many questions, you're going to bring a midfielder. And I think that's where he came out and said, I'm happy with the midfield I have right now. Even though it was a mistake, I think he wanted to back his players, which I agree with. But it was a mistake that we didn't bring in, any midfielders. And I know he has a plan. As we've discussed, I think Lavia will be coming in, but we need another DM to come. I'm sure he's going to get asked a million questions. But hopefully Klopp leaves that press conference with a smile on his face, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's all paper talk at this moment in time, Niall, and I think one of the weirdest things that came out today, Luis Diaz, as if Liverpool are going to sell one of their key players on that left-hand side, who has been a very, very good player for us, and has also sort of made his left wing position his own, especially coming back from a long-term injury.
Yeah, well, apparently there's a housing estate project now to be paid for, isn't there? Didn't we see that news there today from FSG and stuff like that? They're embarking on, 1.2 or 2.2 billion and stuff like that. So you never know what's going to happen with this situation, stuff like that. A lot of that is just Twitter nonsense. Twitter needs to start policing itself, because some of these pages, Twitter pages that are out there, I'm not joking. I spend my day going down through them, absolutely crucifying them. It takes up so much of my day at this stage. And it's just absolute nonsense, the crap that they come out with and stuff like that. I think the situation with Jordan Henderson, look, I love Jordan Henderson. He's our captain. He's been brilliant for us over the last X amount of seasons. We've lifted every trophy we could and all this kind of thing. But there comes a time, you know what I mean? And obviously, this has been going on with himself and Stevie and stuff like that. You see how Stevie slid into the manager's job where he had actually turned it down and all that kind of stuff. The offer's too good to be true. Park all the other moral dilemma debates and stuff like that and all. I fully expect Jordan Henderson probably to do a medical in Croatia on Friday. I think they have a medical centre in Croatia for that club. He'll probably do a medical there and you'll see Jordan Henderson being announced. Jordan Henderson, I would be absolutely shocked if he's on the plane to Singapore. I'd be really, really shocked if that's the case. And it's not that necessarily you want him gone or you want him to stay or something like that, but I just think it's a very, very difficult situation. I'm sure he's had a huge conversation with Klopp when they came back in. That conversation cemented his decision. I mean, there's nothing wrong with going out on agreeing terms with the club. It doesn't necessarily mean you're leaving. I mean, you just put it back on the club then to trash out the deal, and the stupidity of it where they thought they were just going to get the Liverpool captain and a current England international on a free. When you think of the money they've been swashing around for players that have gone in there and stuff like that, was absolutely crazy. But I do think the deal, when you look at the deal, I think it's very beneficial for everyone involved. The whole deal makes sense and stuff like that. Yeah, does it constrict us a little bit? Yeah, is it a little bit out of left field? But maybe it's time the gaffer maybe earned his bread and he got a bit more dynamic in his thinking, and maybe this might be what we need. This might be the trigger that we need to enforce that change. And I just listen to people. It drives me mad listening to people talking about experience and stuff like that. We've 3 internationals in the team. We have a World Cup winner in the team. We've 2 under-21 championship winners in the team that are coming back. You know, what leaning do we need to do? Where were these players when they were being leaned on last season and stuff like that? You've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who to me, in the next 2 to 3 years, is the captain in waiting. I love Trent, and I think that will definitely happen. I think it's just come a little bit too soon for him. If we got another year or 18 months, certainly I would be looking to him and stuff like that. This talk, you know, Macallister coming in a World Cup winner, who's going to show these guys the way? You know what I mean? It's so frustrating to listen to it. And look, we all cried out. Look, we all called for it. We knew we needed a midfield. We're fixing up from stuff that we haven't done for the last 6 transfer windows. And it's come now and it's snowballed on us. And it's a kick in the backside for Klopp and a kick in the backside for FSG that they both needed. And it's about time it happened, to be honest. And I just think this is what we need. These guys were going to hang around. Look at Jordan. Jordan hangs around. That's saying he's going to end up becoming a villain. It's always very careful to know when you should go. You know what I mean? And hanging around just doesn't work. Had the meeting with Klopp, and sure, Klopp said, you're just going to be a bit par player. You're going to be involved in the Europa League and the Cups and, you know, 10, 15 minutes at the end of games here when we stuff sewn up and all that kind of thing. And Jordan, like what happened with Maguire, Jordan, naturally, I'm going to have to give the captain's armband to someone else. And obviously the deal makes sense for everyone, because for Klopp, what it means is he's not under pressure to have to play Jordan, which would come, you know, that would just smell out the gaff eventually. You know, he doesn't have to make the decision to whip the captaincy off him, because I know that wouldn't even sit well with Jurgen, because they have a very good relationship and they've given us all these fabulous moments. So, and that's not the way we do business as a club. So it solves an awful lot of Klopp's headaches while giving him other headaches in terms of what he has to do. And I think it's a good decision all around. And I don't get this whole situation at the moment where they're vilifying him and it's all this kind of thing and stuff like that. He was offered a monumental contract at his age in the last years of his career, generational wealth for his family and all that kind of stuff, the opportunity to go and experience another culture, the conversation with Klopp where things have changed, and this is the kind of player he would be now in that Milner role, if you like, even though we relied on Milner last year so much. So yeah, for me, I just think that's the way it has gone, and I think the decision just needs to be made. I fully expect Jordan Henderson to be a Saudi Arabian player within the next 5 days to a week. We can't just let it roll on and fester. It's another distraction that we don't need. And we've enough distractions in the market at the moment when you think of the absolute stupidity of links that were being linked with and all and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's crazy, you know, talking about going out Kimmich and Goretzka and all this kind of thing. Just throw the other 20 million down and throw the other 25 million down and just go and whip Caicedo off Chelsea. Stop messing around. Fix up. Let's get serious for a change. Let's not. Then we have our midfield. Our midfield then is set for the next 5 years. So Szoboszlai, Alexis Macallister, Caicedo, these guys play together. It'll be seamless and stuff like that. He's such a versatile player. He can play right back. He can play in the midfield. He can play in the DM. If you need him to do box to box, he'll figure that out. You know what I mean? He's such a dynamic player. what are we faffing around on these things, linked with this and linked with that and linked with the other? Let's get serious about our business,
Yeah,
So frustrating.
I absolutely agree with you. And I have to say, I've just been not paying attention to anything transfer-wise because half the things you read is a load of bollocks, a load of rubbish. And I just think the way that these rumours are going about, like the Diaz rumours to me are a load of absolute horseshit. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. We'll get into the chat as well. Nigel says we need to manage these young lads' minutes. We ran the legs off several players last couple of seasons. Depth is absolutely important. Yeah, definitely. Then Nigel confirming Morton's injured.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Hello, George. Hope you are well. Yeah, George, are you coming to Edinburgh tomorrow? Man United, Leon at Murrayfield. I highly doubt it because I know you live in Ipswich, don't you? Hello, Brian. Hope you are well. And Brian said hello to Niall and Daz. Hello, Nate. Panoff saying hi to Brian. Good to see the first team out in the chat, Panoff and Brian. I think it's the right time for Henderson to leave. I think it's the right time. I think as well he's been a magnificent captain for us. But I think when you get an offer that big from a Saudi club, I think it's just about time to look at the bigger picture. That's going to have his family, sewn up for a number of years. So I think it's a good move. Brian laughing at that. Big up Nigel Cody. Des definitely going to be Canati. I think you'll see Matip probably play Europa League games. I think the main two for me, I think if you two would agree, would be Van Dijk and Canati together.
100%.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, you brought in arguably the biggest ghost in world football to boast in the midfield in North. Yeah, please don't remind me. Apparently he's going to Fiorentina. If you remember those. It goes without saying that we don't want to overplay a young lad like Bacetic or put too many miles in. But at the end of the day, if you're good enough, you're old enough. Look at Gavi and Pedri. That is very, very true. Winning La Liga, absolutely. Hi, Wild Dead. Hope you are well. Matthias Muzialowski, bid in loan or purchase, don't know. I've heard of him. He might be going out actually because there's another player that's going out actually, Anderson Arroyo, who I've not seen in the first team. I don't think I've seen him in the reserves as well. And apparently Vandenberg's gone to Mainz as well. These kind of players, Niall, you almost think they're not going to be good enough to make it, are they?
Yeah, and I have the same feelings unfortunately about Carvalho as well. Carvalho's gone out on loan now as well. I don't expect Carvalho to ever be back at Liverpool again. You know what I mean? It saddens me really that he had such a great year in the Championship. He was instrumental in Fulham coming back up into the Prem, and he was really that partner for Mitrovic. Had an outstanding season. We bring him in. We never really had a place for him. I don't know why we brought him in. We've been off a year of his career, and then we send him out on loan. And it's just, I get it if you want to ratchet him up a bit and you want to earn a few quid off him and stuff like that. But it's just, that kind of thing just sometimes leaves a sour taste in my mouth as well. And I think with a lot of these players as well, I think sometimes there's a lot of micking about and a lot of pissing about really on some of the stuff without being, very real about it and stuff like that, And that's, look, you can see, I mean, if you think about all the players that we have there in terms of the academy and stuff like that, we literally talk about, what, 4? There's probably 4 we talk about that we think have probably a real good chance, maybe 5, and the rest, it should be just a bit more realistic about it and stuff like that. And if you're there a number of years, the likelihood of you breaking through and getting into that team, especially with, the level we're having to try and reach now, and you're up against the cities of this world and the Newcastles with the investment and the resurgence of Man United, and then in Europe you've got these teams coming back, the Real Madrids, they'll fix up and all this kind of thing. When you're up against that and you're at that kind of level, it's very difficult to have an appetite to try and manage the rest of that stuff really, you know what I mean? And it's just, every trophy for us now is so important. Even the Carabao Cup, we can't be dismissing that in these days. And we got to be full on in everything, really. And try and use them when we can and pick the right moments and stuff like that. But I think I think the one thing we've lacked over the last number of years is being brutally honest at times, instead of kind of just keeping the kind of status quo. We need to be more brutally honest, and that's what I touched on earlier when we talk about experience, we talk about players and all this kind of thing and all. It's not a kindergarten we're running here. It's elite football, and we're Liverpool Football Club, and it's just at times when I hear some of that stuff, it's like when we hear, the talk of Thiago might go into the 6 in a double pivot with Trent, and I'm there going, why are we crowbar and stuff? Why don't we go out and just do the right thing? And that kind of thing frustrates me as well. You know what I mean? And you look at Stefan last year. We ran Stefan into the ground last year, and he picked up the injury and stuff like that and all. And he was absolutely brilliant for us and stuff like that. But again, as I said, just need to be so careful. You know what I mean? Because you can end the guys. Look at Fofana today with the ACL. That's a second one now or something like that, and he's really only a kid, you know what I mean? It's so difficult.
Yeah.
It's a fine
line. His luck with injuries is really bad. I think since going to Chelsea,
six knee injuries at the age of 22, we said.
Yeah.
6 knee injuries.
It's mad. It's absolutely mad. I suppose the biggest question though, Daz, will Henderson play tomorrow?
That is a big question. I would think so. I would think he still plays.
Now you're shaking your head.
Not a chance.
I'm just...
The only where I'm coming from, Daz, with that is if we believe that potentially there's going to be a medical at some stage and he's going to go to Saudi Arabia, that's what I believe is going to happen. And if that's the case, what happens if he puts him into match tomorrow and someone takes him out at the knee and he picks up an injury?
Yeah.
I just can't see it. They might give him a few minutes at the end of the game or something like that. But I think they're cracking on with a deal there, and they're trying to figure out whether the transfer fee comes from the club or whether the transfer fee comes from Jordan's deal. And I think that's the only thing that needs to be sorted out. I think it's more or less done, and I don't think they'll do anything. If Jordan Henderson plays tomorrow, it'd be so peculiar in terms of what's going on and stuff like that and all. You know what I mean? I find it strange.
I think it'd be really telling then if he does play.
Yes. And the reverse if he doesn't. And the reverse if he doesn't, because then we'll kind of know.
That's what I mean with the transparency. I understand where you're coming from, Niall. I wouldn't play him if he's going, because God forbid, he gets hurt. If he does play, then that kind of starts to move on
it means things are maybe still in the balance. There's still a decision to be made, and we aren't kind of yet at the end game. But I think if there's a deal there on the table and that deal and how it just solves so many issues and stuff like that, I think to risk them like that, and what's going to happen. There'll be a deal on the table, and our luck with these things, you go out on the pitch and you get injured. You know what I mean? This is what happens. And it's just I don't see them risking. I think if Jordan doesn't play tomorrow, we know what's happening. And I think if he does play tomorrow, then we think there's still a lot of things in limbo. And that's the way it will be.
Yeah. Andrew Quinn, hello, mate. Hope you're well. I'm looking forward to the first game tomorrow. I think Klopp has done smart business. We've probably brought the two greatest, youngest superstars in the world, a World Cup winner and a German Cup winner. Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see Macallister. I'm excited to see Szoboszlai. I was about to say Big Bad Dog. I'm actually in two minds whether to call him Big Bad Dom or basically just Szoboszlai. Maybe it's my Scottish accent to do that. If Henderdale doesn't happen next week, he will stay. I think so. I'd like to see Joe Gomez next to BBD next season. Trust you say that, George. Trust you say that. Although to be fair, George, you have actually signed Johnny Evans. That deal I cannot understand for the slightest, but
if he's the United fan, of course he'll want to see Joe Gomez on the pitch.
As mad Joe Matip used to not only play centre back but CDM as well when he was at Schalke. Yeah, Matip's not a CDM. He's not a CDM. We need his runs from defence. We need those big gangly legs to go on an adventure. That Hobbit meme. Going on an adventure. Definitely.
Matip's hand right now is on the end of the bench, clinging on, just holding for that position on the end of the bench there and stuff like that. You can't be going that route. It's not resilient.
Spot on, Nige. Some of those kids were getting preseason games 2 years ago and never knew the first team. Hello, Chris. Oh dear, poor Fofana not. Oh, oh dear. Yes, Fofana has done his ACL again today, Brian. It's just a terrible luck of injuries, unfortunately, for Fofana.
So does that rule out then Colwell leaving?
I would think so.
That's the
unless Chelsea decide, we'll go into the market for like another expensive defender and make them a dud. I mean, Koulibaly, for example, like that move should have happened about 5, 6, 7 years ago when Koulibaly was like in his 20s, not when he's like 30 and slowing down. And I think that's what
Mick Jagger phase. Bowley in his Mick Jagger phase, where he was on world tour picking up people.
Yeah, absolutely. Panel, all this midfield, did we make mistakes letting Milner go? He could cover lots of play. No, I'm going to be honest. Milner was at a stage where he needed to play. I think he's at Brighton now. I think he will be a nurturer for the younger players there at Brighton. And when you look at them, obviously Saicedo's going to be going. But you got Enciso. You've obviously got you've got obviously Solly March, Matoma. You've got some very, very good players there, and he will be able to nurture them. I'll get into the chat very, very, very quickly as well. But Daz, this is where I'm going to try and ask you an 11 for tomorrow.
Oh God. I think Alisson starts. Van Dijk. I think it'll be a strong first 11. The first is it a 30-minute match or 45?
Let's see if there's any news on that. According to this, it's a 90-minute match. So yeah.
I'll go with Alisson, Van Dijk, Kanouté, Trent, midfield. Maybe one of Macallister. I don't think both of them will start. That's a tough one.
Difficult, isn't it?
Because we're gonna obviously play experience and the youngsters as well. So I mean, Doak might even be on the right side. Let Mo play the second half. So yeah, it's one of those where you just take all your names in a hat, throw them up, and then see what lands first.
Pick 3-11,
yeah. It's hard to say what Klopp's going to do, but I would think your main players: Alisson, Van Dijk, Kanouté, Macallister, and I would think Nunes will get the nod up front. He needs a really big pre-season for me.
Yes,
I've got all faith in the lad. I'm still trying to figure out where he's actually going to play, because Gakpo, seems to have got that centre with Mo and Diaz either side. Where do you play Nunes? So I mean, that's a tactical thing that Klopp's going to have to figure out to get the best out of Nunes. But yeah, you're asking a question I've got no clue what Klopp will put out. But I just think those 4 or 5 main players will start, and then it'll be the youngsters thrown in.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I could maybe see Kelleher. You might see Kelleher maybe one half, and you might see Alisson another half, or you might even see Lugia. It's really, really, really difficult to say as well. But Niall, do you have a wee go? Or
yeah, I think because you're probably staring down the barrel of 3 matches, as we said, not one match. And I think what he's done in the past as well, I think if you notice in some of these early pre-seasons as well, he kind of keeps the experience all together and the youth all together and doesn't necessarily mesh them at times. We've seen, I think, what was a pre-season last year? We had like 6 or 7 youth players came on at one stage all together, kind of thing, and stuff like that. One or two of the matches and stuff like that. Who he plays, I don't know. I think he might want to. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a look at Macallister in midfield, but had a look at Szoboszlai maybe in the Salah role or something like that, because we know we have the AFCON coming up as well in January and stuff like that. So he might want to just have a quick look at that as well. So there might be different things that he might try and stuff like that. I mean, that's really what we want to see from pre-season, isn't it? We don't want to see the same old. Like if he goes out tomorrow and just picks a really, really strong 11, it's kind of, we'll want to watch it and we'll want to see it and see how it plays, but we have to be conscious of the opposition as well and stuff like that, We don't want it to get silly and stupid and stuff like that, We just want to see players having a solid match and coming off injury-free, and most people around the camp getting a few minutes into their legs. That's how I'll see it going. But, I don't know. I'm not too sure he'll mix up that youth with the experience that much. He's normally quite clever that way in the way he does things. So you'll probably see Kelleher, you'll see Allison, but you'll see them kind of in the level that they normally are with less experience and more experience.
100%. Guys, let us know in the live chat. So Brian Marcy says no chance he plays. Should be able to complete the required surgery or physiotherapy to prevent recurrence. To the person who stole my place in line, I'm after you now. Oh dear. Well, 50 goals last season, but no new defender. I still worry about us defensively, Daz. I don't know about you, but I still worry about us a little bit defensively.
Oh, sorry. Say it again. Sorry.
I was just saying that I still worry about us defensively.
I do as well. We watched Virgil last season. He was a shell of himself. I'm not with all these people going, it's because of his injury, because the year before we nearly won everything, and he was the same player. I just think he's lost a bit of his pace. I just think most of the team were someplace else. But he is a big question mark for me. He needs to get back to being Virgil van Dijk again. Obviously, the Trent situation at right back, everybody exploited that right side. We were wide open. We got better when he played the inverted, the double six. But we had a lot of goals scored against us last season. You can contribute that to the midfield, because the midfield would just brushed us aside. Every team just went straight through us. If you don't have a solid midfield, what can your defenders do? If they have to defend most of the match. Am I worried? Not too much. I think it'll get sorted out. But our players need to get back to playing how they used to play 2 years ago. Could we do with another centre back coming in left side? Of course we can. Colwell would have been superb, but obviously it looks like he's staying at Chelsea. Plus, do we have that extra 50, 60 million that Chelsea would want? Right side, Gomez looks like he'll probably be the backup, or Conor Bradley if he has a really good, pre-season. Trent will probably still play right back, and then I'll play the hybrid role as well. But I don't want us to get back to the season where, Suarez, it was Liverpool, we can score more than you. I don't want that. We've got to be solid at the back. However we need to do it, we've got to be solid, more compact. Stop this high line crap. If we don't need to do it, then don't do it. We were so far up last season. All they did was dink the ball over, and that's where most of the goals came from.
100%. And if it wasn't for Alisson as well, we would have been lower than fifth. 100%.
See, Doug, see that grey in my beard and in Daz's beard. That's from those Newcastle 4-3s back in the day. That's what causes that. That's what we don't, as he said, that's what we don't want to get back to. That's what causes that grey in the beard. Those 4-3s. So, yeah, we don't want to get back to that, yeah.
Brian's actually asked a very interesting question. I'm actually not sure if the game's on YouTube tomorrow. I don't know if the Liverpool YouTube are actually going to be showing it, or LFC TV. I don't know. I honestly don't know. As far as I know, obviously, I will obviously look and see if it is on YouTube, but I haven't seen anything to say whether it is or not, Brian. So I would not have a clue. So hello, Luke. I hope you're all right. It's only for pre-season. Yeah. I know. Hello, Baz. Hope you are well. Thank you for tuning in, mate. I still give Johnny Evans more game time than Harry Maguire. Lavia had better stats than Camavinga and De Jong last season. Oh, Jesus. There's another youngster who isn't getting talked about enough, and that person is Ben Doak. Yeah, we were just speaking about Ben Doak, Andrew. I think it's a big season for him. I think if he can stay relatively injury-free, touch wood, I think he could potentially play Europa League games. I really, really do. Chalaba and Koulibaly either side of him must take Thiago Silva. I think he's watching Dumb and Dumber. Lavia long pass is 90, 77, 27. De Jong 71. Camavinga 65. Enzo Fernandez 63. Wow. New goalkeeper arrives at the King Power 1. Ward back. No, thank you. Especially after last season as well. The idea that Milner, Henderson, and Fabinho are leaving in the same window is a problem for some. I like it. I want to embrace the opportunity to refresh the team, but our recruitment have a job on. Yeah, 100%. And we're too sentimental, I think, to players at times. I think that is a case. I've got Liverpool finishing my predicted top 4 this season, but juggling the Europa League schedule will be tricky. Yeah, absolutely. So, Talker Keller to Wolves. I'm going to be honest, right? Daz, would you sell Kelleher? Or would you give him the Europa League games?
100% give him the league, the Carabao Cup, Europa, whatever needs to happen for him to stay. But I totally understand why he wants to leave. I mean, he's good enough for most of the Premier League teams. He is.
Yeah.
So he wants to play, and you want that in a goalkeeper. You want somebody that wants to play football. I mean, if we do sell him, we've got to put a buyback clause in his contract. We have to.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, they're talking 20 million, I think, to Wolves. I mean, that's the number being bandied about. Where can we get a number 2 that's going to be, you know, I mean, if Alisson gets injured, you know, love Adrian for what he brings to the squad. But is he a number 2 that could come in if Alisson's injured? No, he's not. So for me, try and hang on to Kelleher for at least another season, and then Klopp, you know, has the discussion with him at the end of the season.
Yeah, Niall, are you in agreement?
Yeah, they were looking at the big boy in Anderlecht, weren't they? The guy 6'5" or 6'6" or something, and there was talk somewhere between 6 and 8 million or something like that. So, if that could happen, and look, I'm Irish, I don't want Queeveen to move either, but I know the struggle that he has at the moment at international level here, trying to unearth Gavin Bazunu and stuff like that. The one thing about the Irish squad at the moment is, we're spoiled in terms of goalkeepers, as has been down through the years.
Yeah.
But he wants to tie down his spot there in terms of the international scene as well. And I think the conversation has been had, well, you need to get regular football and stuff like that. And it's been a struggle, you know, and you're not gonna unearth Alisson anytime soon. But I think some sort of a happy medium where they agreed to share it a little bit. Like, it worked really well the previous season in the domestic cups and stuff like that and all. He's a fabulous number 2. I think we'd be hard pressed to replace him in terms of having the number 2. Adrian is not the answer, and I think the boy, what's his name, Harvey Davis in the academy, who's doing really, really good. Is that his name?
Yeah.
But he's probably just not ready for the step up at the moment. What I would have done this season was I probably would have let Adrian go, because he's a very expensive social manager. And I would have brought in maybe promoted Harvey Davis maybe into the third spot. It also helps you in terms of your this homegrown situation and stuff like that. And also maybe that might have been the way to go. But certainly I'd be doing everything to hang on to Queeveen. He's a fabulous number 2, and he's rarely ever let us down. He was absolutely fantastic, if you remember, in the cups and stuff like that. And also he's more than well capable. It's kind of the one position where, not that I want Allison not to play or if he gets injured or something like that, but when I hear Queeveen is coming in for him, it's the one thing where I don't get overly anxious or concerned or something like that. I know Queeveen is more than capable of doing a really good job for us, as opposed to other positions and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think we have to do everything to make him stay, to be honest, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Please just know there is no way we're getting Romelu Lukaku. There's just no way. Jordan Lukaku, maybe a couple of seasons ago, but yeah, Romelu, hell no. Hello, Uncle Rod, hope you're well. BBD captain, if don't play like first 2 seasons, we are doomed. LA Dark Knight, hello, no chance of Lukaku. Hello, John Conway as well. Hope you're well.
Hey,
Highline is our game. It's how we won the league. It's defense and DM. We need scoring, ain't a problem. Hello, big up chat. He says, Baz. Everyone's speaking to everybody as well. LA Dorn says, the only way I'd sell Kelleher is if the money is right and there's a free legend floating about. Even then, the money has to be 25 million and spent well on a defender. Last season's me, I don't even think the defence was a problem to the goals we conceded. I think it was the midfield. There was no legs in the middle of the park, lack of energy, lack of self-belief. Well, we've got the energy in the midfield, and we've got definitely goals from midfield now as well with Macallister and Szoboszlai. This is another interesting thing, Daz. Who's going to be the penalty kick taker? Because have you seen Szoboszlai's record on penalty kicks?
Well, Macallister as well.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. I think it'll be Mo. I think they'll stick with him, but it's a nice option, isn't it? You know, Macallister was nice and calm against United in the 99th minute. I jumped up off my couch so high when that ball went in. You know, I was so happy. We all hate United on here. I know hate is a strong word, but I hate Man. Yeah.
Some would say that's not strong enough.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I could swear, but you know, I'll keep it PC. I think Mo will still be the penalty taker, unless, you know, Mo says, you know, I'll step back. But it's a nice option to have, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Rohit Roy, I believe you're new to the channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Guys, if you are new to the channel, then please do hit that subscribe button on this channel, and also the Liverpool Connection, and also the upper tier. Both links are in the description box down below. Just click on their links and just give them a subscribe. What happened to the talks about again, paper talk. Absolutely paper talk. I mean, I don't think you'll see Valverde leave. I don't think you'll see Tchouaméni leave. I think it's just basically hands-off warning. And if I'm being honest, I've kind of not taken any interest to transfers at this moment in time. Yes, if obviously something happens, like big breaking news, like agreement, something like that. But all this paper nonsense. I mean, some of the names I've seen this linked with, like, I think I could basically go over about 50 or 60 players that we've been linked with this summer. And literally, the only two that have joined, Szoboszlai and Macallister. The rest are absolutely either not happening or just basically paper talk. That's it. He's good enough to play every week for any club outside the top 6-7, but will he get the opportunity? But I always say the second the lad wants to go, you let him go. I think it's about Kelleher. I think Wolves are going to have a hard season this summer, Brian. Because they've lost a few players. They have lost a few players as well. Obviously, Brentford have obviously signed Mark Flecken, I think is his name. So it's going to be interesting to see if Kelleher goes. But as and as we've all said, I think Kelleher getting the Europa League games, at least getting the League Cup games and getting the FA Cup games, that would not be too bad. As well. Good option for penalty shootouts. Salah was awful at pens as well. Anyway, surprised Tonali at Newcastle. It's a cracking deal. Absolutely cracking deal. Definitely, thumbs up.
He looks so happy, doesn't he? He looks so happy to be at Newcastle. Have you seen some of those pictures? Oh my God. That's why I say to people, you know when you hear these stories about Valverde, just look at how happy Tonali is at Newcastle. And that just embeds all those stories. Good luck. Can you imagine how happy Valverde would be leaving Real Madrid? Stop.
Yeah. I'm not going to do a score prediction because I think it's all about getting the freshness in the players' legs tomorrow. But it's just going to be so good to see us back in action as well. And by the way, guys, just don't believe any people not talk nonsense. Like, honestly, just don't. Unless they're holding up a scarf, unless they've signed a bit of paper, and unless they're holding up a shirt, you believe it. But everything else is complete paper talk at this moment in time. But I have very, very much enjoyed the stream. Very, very much enjoyed talking about the Reds and talking about match preview again as well. Daz, thank you very much for coming on to the channel. Please tell us where the people can find you.
On Twitter at ATX Reds Podcast, and same with YouTube at the Liverpool Connection Podcast. Insta, same thing. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Doug. You've popped my cherry.
You're very welcome. You're very, very welcome. No, it's been a pleasure to get you on, and we'll definitely get you on much more this season. So Niall as well, thank you very much for coming on. Tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, pleasure coming on. Thanks for having me on first time as well. Yeah, it's the upper tier, basically on everything: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're out there, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify for the audio shows. And if you're looking for the Liverpool stuff, it's in there embedded. It's under the Shankly Sessions. That's where you'll find all the Liverpool content.
Yeah, go and check them out. As I said, both guys' links are in the description box down below. Just literally go and press that subscribe button. It would mean the world to all of us as well. No. No. Certainly not. Dark Knight. Nice thought, but no. Can't wait season, guys. Big up. Thank you, Wild Dead. Great stream. Thank you, Stephen Owens. Panoff says, I don't, Douglas, and not until someone signs on the dotted line. Ouch. Big up, Stephen Owens. Great stream, everyone. Thank you, George. Yeah, I've not seen you in the chat for a while, so hope you're keeping well. Big up, stay safe, respect. And big up, Douglas and the boys, says Panoff. Absolutely, as well. But guys, Liverpool are back in action tomorrow. Will there be a match reaction? It'd be interesting to see if I can get a stream. If I can get a stream, then potentially I could do one. But again, all about freshness in the players' legs tomorrow. It'll be nice to see some of the youngsters tomorrow as well. But guys, if you have missed it on the live, then please watch it on playback. Let us know your thoughts about this game. Let us know who you think will start, and let us know your well, I would say score prediction, but when it comes to pre-season, you just never know. Never know. And the final few comments as well. Come on, Liverpool, says Rohit, and Wild Dead saying you'll never walk alone. Well, we will see what will happen tomorrow, but the Reds are back in action, and that is a good thing to say. From the three of us, from myself, from Daz and Niall, it is good night, and you'll never walk alone. Cheers, Reds!